I'm a graphic designer. I live alone in Burlington, Vermont. Last summer, I took a house-sitting job in Saratoga Springs, New York. 2 weeks. Easy money. A woman named Joanne contacted me through a house-sitting website. We spoke on the phone twice. She had a warm voice. She and her husband were leaving for Europe. A dog and a cat. $50 a day. I accepted. The drive from Burlington took 4 hours. I pulled into the driveway at 8 p.m. A storm was rolling in. The sky had gone purple. The first drops hit my windshield. As I parked, the house was big. White siding, wraparound porch. I ran for the porch. Somewhere down the street, a dog was barking, then quiet. A note on the front door. Welcome, Camille. Code is 4392. Food on the counter. Make yourself at home. I unlocked the door. I stepped inside. Joanne had said the master bedroom was upstairs. First door on the right. I climbed the stairs. I turned right, opened the first door. A small office. No bed. I checked the door across the hall. A bedroom on the left. Maybe she'd misspoken. Maybe. I unpacked, then went back downstairs. The cat was in the living room, grey, watching me from the back of the couch. Didn't move. I went into the kitchen. A note on the refrigerator. Different handwriting from the one on the front door. Blocky, all caps. Feed cat 7 a.m. Feed cat 6 p.m. No mention of a dog. I opened the cabinet under the sink. Cat food. Cat dishes. Nothing for a dog. I walked through the rest of the kitchen. The laundry room. The mud room. No dog leash. No dog bed. No collar. There was no dog. The storm broke open. Rain hammered the windows. I stood in the kitchen, trying to make sense of it. Maybe the dog was at a boarding kennel. Maybe Joanne had taken it with her. Maybe I'd misheard during our phone call, but she'd said it twice. A dog and a cat. I tried to call her, straight to voicemail. I texted, no response. I told myself I'd try again in the morning. I was tired from the drive. I made myself dinner, ate at the kitchen island. The cat watched me from the doorway. After dinner, I walked through the house, checking doors and windows. The front door, locked. The back door, locked. The basement door, off the laundry room, locked. A door at the end of the hallway, locked. I tried the handle. It didn't budge. Joanne hadn't mentioned a locked room. She'd said I had access to the whole house. Just feed the cat. I made a note to ask her about it when she called back. I went upstairs, brushed my teeth, changed into pajamas, got into the unfamiliar bed. The storm kept going outside. I fell asleep, listening to the rain. I woke up at 2 a.m. Something downstairs, then another. Someone was walking on the first floor. I sat up in bed. The footsteps stopped. The cat was small. The creak was heavy. The footsteps started again, moving toward the stairs, then stopped at the bottom. I held my breath, then movement again, back toward the kitchen, then silence. I lay in the dark for an hour, then I got up. The kitchen was empty. The living room was empty. The cat was sleeping on the couch. Every door still locked. Nothing disturbed. I told myself it was the storm, my nerves, the house settling. I went back to bed, slept badly. In the morning, I tried Joanne again, straight to voicemail. I texted, no response. I opened the house sitting platform, tried to message her there. The listing was gone, no longer available. I sat on the couch, holding my phone. I went to the county property records, typed in the address. The house was registered to a man named Walter, not Joanne. I searched his name, found his social media. Walter was currently in Italy, 3 days into a trip, posting photos from Florence that morning. Not married. No mention of a wife named Joanne. No mention of a dog. I sent him a direct message. I'm sorry to bother you. My name is Camille. A woman named Joanne hired me to house sit at your address in Saratoga Springs. I'm in your house right now. I waited. An hour later, he responded. I don't know anyone named Joanne. I never hired a house sitter. Get out of my house. Call the police. I'm calling them now too. My hands went cold. I grabbed my bag, stuffed everything in it, Forgot half of it. Didn't care. I walked to the front door. The cat watched me from the couch. I unlocked the door, stepped onto the porch. Then I stopped. The hallway door, the locked one. I had to know. I dropped my bag by the door and walked back inside. I went down the hall, stood in front of the locked door. I tried the handle one more time. Still locked. I went to the kitchen, opened drawers, looking for a key. In the third drawer, under a stack of dish towels, I found a small brass key. Old, worn smooth. I walked back to the door. My hands were shaking. I slid the key in. The door opened. The room was dark. A small interior room. No windows. A single chair in the middle. On the chair were photographs. I stepped closer. Polaroids. A stack of them. I picked up the top one. A woman in her 30s, sitting at a kitchen table, drinking coffee, not aware of the camera. I flipped to the next one. Another woman, reading in a chair. Next, a different woman, asleep on a couch. Next, a woman feeding the cat. The same cat that was sitting in the living room, 10 feet away from me. I kept flipping. 6 different women, 6 different sets of photographs, all inside this house, all in different rooms, all unaware. I got to the 7th stack. I was in those photos. Me at the kitchen island last night, eating dinner. The cat watching from the doorway. Me on the couch, on my phone. Me at the top of the stairs, in my pajamas. Me sleeping. In the bedroom. Whoever had taken these photos had been in the house with me last night while I'd heard those footsteps. The locked door. The dog that didn't exist. The footsteps weren't a house settling. They were someone moving from room to room. I ran out of the house, grabbed my bag, drove to the nearest gas station, called the police. They got there 20 minutes later. I gave my statement. Walter had already called from Italy. I stayed in my car. An hour later, a detective tapped on my window. "Ma'am, come back inside." The hallway door was open. The chair was gone. The photos were gone. But the room had something else now. A trap door. Built into the floorboards, hidden under the rug. There's a crawl space under this house. Whoever took those photos left through here, probably while we were driving over. I asked if she'd found him. She shook her head. "He's gone, but we found records in the basement. He's been doing this for years." "You're the 7th. I sat down on the porch. The other 6 women took the same job, same listing, same fake name. They came for 2 weeks, and they didn't go home. I asked if anyone reported them missing. No, none of them. That's how he picked you. You live alone. You wouldn't be missed quickly. He looks for women like that." I drove home that night, 5 hours straight. The case is still open. Walter is selling the house, but I think about the other 6, their faces in those photographs. Nobody looking for them. I was the 7th. The other 6 were never reported missing. They didn't have anyone looking for them. I almost didn't either. I'm a freelance translator. I work from my apartment in Toronto, Ontario, Spanish to English. Last October, it rained for 3 weeks straight. Then one client sent me a letter, a man calling himself Mateo. New account. No profile picture. No reviews. He wanted an 8-page letter, translated from Spanish to English. Premium rate. He paid up front. I accepted. The letter arrived as a PDF, scanned pages, neat block letters. I sat down at my desk with a coffee. The letter was a personal account. A man describing a woman. He'd seen her first in the fall, at a cafe near her apartment. She drank her coffee black. Standard romantic obsession. I kept translating. He wrote about her routine. Morning at the cafe. Walk to a bookstore. Sometimes a small park. Page 3. She drinks Earl Grey tea at home. Never sugar. She buys the same brand from the same store every other Sunday. I stopped. Earl Grey. No sugar. Every other Sunday. That was me. I told myself it was coincidence. A lot of women drink Earl Grey. I kept translating. Page 4. Her morning route goes east on Queen Street, then south on Spadina. She crosses at the light. She never looks at the cars. I lived off Queen Street. My route to the cafe was east, then south on Spadina. My fingers stopped on the keyboard. I stared at the page. I told myself this couldn't be about me. Couldn't be. I scrolled to page 5. She lives on the 14th floor. The door code is 1972. She has not changed it since she moved in 3 years ago. I live on the 14th floor. The door door code to my building was 1972. I'd never changed it. It was the year my mother was born. A previous tenant had set it. I hadn't thought about it in years. My hands were trembling on the keyboard. I closed the PDF. I sat at my desk, staring at the rain, hitting my window. I tried to think. Matteo wasn't a real name. A new account. No reviews. He'd paid in cryptocurrency. He hadn't sent this letter to be translated. He'd sent it to tell me something. He wanted me to read it. I went to the police station that afternoon. I brought my laptop. The PDF on screen. An officer who spoke Spanish read the rest. His face went white. A detective named Patricia brought me into an interview room. She had the printed letter in front of her. Miss Iris, I'm going to be honest with you. This letter contains a plan. The man who wrote it has detailed how he intends to enter your apartment and what he intends to do. I asked when. She turned to the last page. 6 days from now. She told me not to go home. Stay somewhere else. Don't tell anyone where. Change my routine. Change my phone. I went to my parents' house in Mississauga. 6 days passed. Nothing happened. The police were watching my apartment. No one came. On the 7th day, Patricia called. She wanted me to come into the station. I drove in, sat in the same interview room. Patricia had a folder this time. She opened it. We've been working with police in 2 other cities, Montreal and Ottawa. Both have unsolved cases involving women who were sent letters similar to yours. She slid 2 photos across the table. A woman in her late 20s, a woman in her early 30s, both Hispanic, both freelance translators, both deceased. The first one had been killed in her apartment in Montreal 6 months earlier. The second one in Ottawa 3 months earlier. The police hadn't connected them until now, until me. Patricia leaned forward. Both of these women received a letter to translate before they died. We found copies on their computers. Same handwriting, same structure, same details about their routines. I asked if I was alive because the police got there in time. She shook her head. You're alive because you stopped reading. She explained. The other 2 women had finished translating the letters. At the back of each letter, there were instructions. If you've read this far, write the address of your apartment in the margin. Send the letter back within 48 hours, or I'll come anyway. Both women had panicked, translated the rest, then sent the letter back, hoping it would buy them time. The address in the margin confirmed his target. You confirmed yours by translating it. I asked Patricia why I survived. You stopped at page 5. You went to the police instead. You were faster than the other 2. She paused. The other 2 were learning Spanish. They wanted to do good work. I'd grown up speaking Spanish, my first language. The other 2 had learned it as adults. It had taken them longer. I'd been faster because the language was already mine. The man was caught 2 months later in a town outside Hamilton. He confessed to 4 women. 2 of them had never been reported missing. I changed my address, changed my phone, closed my translation business. I work in marketing now. Boring office work. I don't read Spanish letters anymore. A year after the trial, a postcard came to my new address. I don't know how he found me. He was supposed to be in prison. He is in prison. The postcard was handwritten, Spanish, different handwriting, 3 words. Te enseñé bien. I taught you well. I burned it. I didn't take it to the police. I don't know who sent it. I wasn't the first. I was the 3rd. The other 2 are dead. I'm alive because someone else taught me Spanish well enough to stop reading at the right page. I run a photo restoration business out of my home in Asheville, North Carolina. Old family photos, torn edges, faded faces. I bring them back. I've been doing this for 10 years. I lost my father 5 years ago. He was the one who got me into photography. After he died, I started this business because I couldn't restore him, but I could restore other people's fathers. Last March, a new client contacted me, a man named Stephen. He had a 1972 family portrait. He wanted restored. Standard request, standard price. He paid the deposit, sent a high-resolution scan of the original photograph. I opened it in my editing software. The photo showed a typical American family, a mother, a father, 3 children, standing in front of a wood-paneled wall, the kind of portrait families took at department stores. In the early 70s, the image was badly damaged, yellowed, crackled. A long scratch ran across the father's face. I started with the easy fixes: color correction, damage repair, removed the scratch, smoothed the cracks. The faces started coming back. The mother had brown hair pulled into a low ponytail. The father wore glasses. The children stood in front of them in matching outfits. I worked for 2 hours. When I reached the final stage, I zoomed in on the background. There was a window behind the family. In the reflection of the window, something was visible. A figure, faint, just barely there. A silhouette of someone standing outside the window. Photobombing, or a reflection of someone in the room who wasn't in the portrait itself. I worked to clarify the reflection. I sharpened the area, increased the resolution, pulled back the shadows. Slowly a face emerged. A man's face, bearded, mid-30s, looking directly at the camera. Something about it felt familiar. I couldn't place it at first. I sat back from the screen, stared at it for a long time. The features kept tugging at something. The shape of the jaw, the eyes. A storm was building outside. The light in my office had darkened. I got up from my desk, walked to the bookshelf, pulled down my family album. I flipped through pages, photos of my father from when he was in his 30s. I brought the album back to my desk, held it next to my screen. The same face. My father, standing in the window of a family portrait from 1972, of a family that wasn't his. He'd been in his late 20s in 1972, living in Ohio, not yet married, not yet a father. He had no connection to this family in this photograph. None. I called my husband David. He came home immediately. He looked at the screen. He looked at my family album. "That's your dad." "I know. How is that possible?" David leaned closer, looked at the pixels around the face. "This has been edited. The original window probably didn't have anyone in it. Someone added him. I knew that. But that wasn't the comfort it should have been. It meant someone had done this on purpose. Someone who knew my father. Someone who'd sent me this exact image to restore." David asked if I'd contacted Stephen. I tried. All bounced back. The account had been deactivated. I called the police. They came to the house. 2 detectives sat at my kitchen table while I showed them the file. The lead detective was a woman named Robin. She asked about my business, my clients, all by email, none in person. She asked if anyone had ever seemed too interested in me personally. There was one. 3 years ago, a man calling himself Brian had hired me for a single photograph. After I'd finished, he'd sent follow-up emails. What camera I used, what my schedule looked like. I'd stopped responding. Robin took down the name. She left with my client database. A week passed. Then Robin called. She wanted me to come to the station. When I got there, she sat me in her office and opened a folder. "We arrested a man yesterday. His name was Russell, 47 years old, lived in Charlotte, 2 hours from Asheville. He had a long history of digital harassment, multiple aliases. Brian was one, Stephen was another. Russell had been watching me for 10 years. 10 years. His computer had a folder labeled with my name, my website over the years, photos of me from social media, photos of my father. He downloaded my father's obituary. The day it was published, he'd attended the visitation. He'd signed the guest book under a fake name. Robin showed me one more thing, a printout from Russell's browser history. A forum, not on the dark web, just a regular website, hidden behind a registration wall. Robin explained, "This is a community, a group of men who do this kind of thing. They share targets, they share techniques." I asked how many members. Hundreds, maybe more. Russell had been posting about me for years. Photographs, updates on my life. Other members had given him advice. The photo restoration request had been a suggestion from one of them. Make her restore something that proves you know her father. It would establish dominance. That was the suggestion. Russell had executed it. Russell is in custody, but the forum is still active. These people use VPNs. We can't shut it down quickly. I asked what that meant for me. She paused. "It means Russell knew everything about you, and everything Russell knew you, he shared on the forum. Other members read it. Other members saved it. They have your information. I went home, changed my email, changed my website, took my photos off everything public, but I kept working. Photography was the only thing that brought my father back. 3 months later, I was sitting at my desk when a new client request came in. I read the email twice. The client was named Cooper. He had an old family portrait from 1985 that needed restoration. He'd attached a preview image. I opened it. A man, a woman, a little girl, standing in front of a Christmas tree. I zoomed in on the little girl. It was me. 5 years old. I'd never met Cooper. I had no idea where he'd gotten this photograph. The original was on my parents' wall my whole life. After my father died, I'd taken it. It hung in my hallway. Russell was in prison. This wasn't Russell. This was someone else. Russell was arrested. The forum is still active. They know my name, and one of them just learned my face. At 5 years old,